Stage 1 disaster class. I know. It was pretty fucking bad. Um, yeah. I'm just gonna briefly gloss over it just so that we don't have to really think about how fucking bad it was. Okay, well, first of all, we were right about M80. We were right about bait. Um, actually, no. Well, yeah, no, we were right about bait. Um, yeah, but we were definitely wrong about a lot of other fucking things. First of all, Game Religion played dog shit, which is why they went 1 to 3, only beating Rare Adam, right? Who completely shit the bed. But mind you, they were, I would say, they were very close against beating Imperial. They just really shit the bed, which was just absolutely embarrassing overall. Played terribly, and let's not talk about Lin Vision. Just absolute shit show performance from them. Although I will give them credit, like they did play like a no all regulation round best of five, about a few days ago, prior to the start of the major, and with zero boot camp as well. Probably not the smartest thing that they could have done, but hey, I mean, if you want to go to EPL, I suppose it's a sacrifice you're willing to make. So yeah, really unfortunate result from them, honestly, and yeah, Game Religion is completely terrible. Legacy as well, falling short really of the results. They definitely could have locked in, but they didn't, and they did end up getting like some tough opponents, and also losing that game against FlyQuest at the start set them up for failure in a way. Um, so yeah, and oh my god, phase were really close. We're really close to just narrowly losing, and then they locked in. They locked in, and they pulled out their phase magic like they normally do. So what's it worry about? We were right about though about Paravision and Nip and FlyQuest. Very much surprised, but they did fantastic. Honestly, FlyQuest did fantastic. So yeah, let's give it that. I'm gonna do this one a little bit differently though. I wanted to do this one a little bit more differently though, because I feel like the easiest way that we could possibly set this up for ourselves this time, just because of how inconsistent these best of ones have been for the major, we have to really analyze kind of which teams have the best opportunities to make top six, maybe a bottom four, 1-0 capable, which would be like teams that have the capacity to possibly fluke their win, but they wouldn't be part of the bottom four essentially. And then you have the flukes, which would be kind of the people who have 50-50 chances to make it or not make it, essentially. I want to say M80 are going to win this match just because of how well they were firing, but I didn't mean you are playing against Centaurus, so we'll just really have to see. But Aurora last time had a really shit run, so by all means should technically be winning, but like, I think we're just going to say that we're going to take this. Navi versus FlyQuest. Honestly, FlyQuest are looking really impressive. I will want to personally say Navi should go in 3-0. Like they're probably my favorite to go 3-0, even more than Legacy. Just because they should. They should be. But FlyQuest could definitely win it as well. Um, so it's really hard to say. I'm gonna say though that also FlyQuest are probably gonna suffer kind of fatigue having not played for a while as well. So I think we're probably gonna end it in favor of Navi per se. Um, and then you have Liquid and Bait. Bait have been fairly inconsistent. They made it in the end, but like they have been really, the games have been extremely close. Team Liquid should on paper I think take this. It's kind of hard to say because Team Liquid has been doing well, but they haven't really necessarily been doing well enough with this new roster, and it's still kind of fairly fresh. So debatable. Fnatic versus 3D Max. I mean, this one can really go either way. On paper, I'm gonna say 3D Max though. And Ashalis and Nip, kind of same thing as well. Nip played really well during stage one, and they only have like 1 day of fatigue, if anything. So hard to really muster up where you would say for this one. Oh, this one hurts my soul because I'm gonna be honest, Paravision should be winning this. Tyloo though, we're gonna pray. We're gonna pray that Tyloo don't go 0-3, but based off of how they've been playing, it's been really bad, really really bad. I'm gonna say though that they do have the potential to fluke, but with the recent CS that I've watched from them, it's been really terrible. So I'm not gonna put them up for grabs. MIBR versus Imperial, really, this one could be a toss up, quite honestly. Um, God, I mean, Imperial does have the buff of having played throughout the entirety of stage one, so they're going to be warmed up. But also, it's Imperial, and then they're playing against MIBR, so this one is really like a 50-50 on how well this game might go. And I think because of that, I'm going to say that Imperial are probably going to win, though. Just because MIBR are kind of coming in with this like really fresh roster. Passion UA versus FaZe, I think call me call me like optimistic, but I think FaZe are going to be super warmed up. They should be super warmed up. I'm expecting a 3-1 win from them, so they're gonna go into this shit clean. Okay, 3-1 beat Passion UA. Passion UA could definitely upset it though. They could definitely upset it, and like all these games are so close, and it's because they're best of ones, right? Let's just remind you that these are all best of ones, and that's why it's so hard to predict any of these at all. It's just terrible. It's so terrible. And if these are our hypothetical like round twos, I'm gonna say if Aurora is already in 1-0, I'm going to say they're probably gonna end the day 1-1, honestly. But if they do though, I'm gonna say that they go. They know they're probably gonna be beating FaZe, or maybe FaZe are warmed up. I'm gonna say though that like Aurora on paper should be having more firepower. I'd say Aurora firepower is a little bit more consistent than FaZe at the moment, so I think we're gonna say that's the case. Navi versus Imperial, I'm gonna just say Navi all the way. But Imperial could definitely upset it, I suppose. Liquid versus Paravision, a little bit of a tough one. I'm gonna say Liquid though. And then 3D Max versus Astralis. This one I think might be the close. This one is definitely gonna be the closest one of all of them. But I would probably say 3D Max. I think I'm a little bit reliant on how consistent 3D Max have generally been playing outside of the few fluke losses that they've had, but they've been playing pretty consistent. Astralis to a similar degree as well, but they've had lesser placements at the same time. So that's why it's like kind of really hard to pair up these two. This one is honestly 50-50. These either team will go in, and I think I just don't think it's guaranteed that Aurora are. I think they're gonna go 1-1. I think they have to go 1-1. But you know what? Let's just say M80 win. Let's just say M80 win, and we're gonna say that Astralis 3-0. Astralis 3-0. Astralis, Navi 3-0. I don't know. Either one works. um, I'm a little bit skeptical of this one. I feel like one fluke team is going to make it into the top, is going to make it into the 2-0 bracket, and that's kind of the problem because that team is going to completely screw over any of these predictions whatsoever, which makes our like results like kind of unintelligible per se. Let's see, FlyQuest over Passion UA. I'm going to say that. I don't think Bait are necessarily going to be the weakest though. It's kind of hard. Like MIBR has just been like looking really rough around the edges, but it's also maybe they've been cooking in the boot camp, so they might have figured something out, but it's hard to say. And then I want Tyloo to upset this game, but we'll see. It's hard to put it down on paper to say that will be the case, or if anything, if they go down, we'll be beating Nip. I'll be probably beating FaZe. Liquid versus Imperial. Loki, I'm gonna say Imperial actually fluke this. I'm gonna say Imperial fluke this game. Charles versus M80, I'm gonna say that this one won't matter because I feel like either way you're gonna get placed against 3D Max, which I think will be winning the Paravision game. And because of that, 3D Max are probably gonna go in 3-0. This is optimistic, but I would also probably rather have that team go in 3-0 over the other ones in case that the other teams are too inconsistent, if that makes sense. Yeah, I would just kind of wager that. I would kind of wager that. Like Navi on paper should be making this too clean, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I could just be completely wrong, just like a lot of other pickems, because fuck my pickems, I guess. Fuck my pickems. Yeah, so bad, so bad, so bad. FlyQuest over Passion UA. I'm probably gonna say that. Bait over MIBR. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. And this one would be a really rough toss up. Do MIBR go 3-0? I don't think so. I don't necessarily think so, but I also think they would at the same time. And Nip were playing pretty solid, honestly. Maybe Aurora. I think they'd go 1-1. I think they go 1-1 by the end of day two, honestly. Yeah, I'm going to just say Passion UA versus Tyloo. I'd probably even say Tyloo. Maybe just to play it safe though, you'd probably want to put Tyloo and Passion UA both at the bottom four, at the very least. And MIBR is just really hard to discern. Nip can definitely win this game as well. Nip can definitely win this game, and it will just like offset a lot of where the pickems are essentially in terms of where you would rank these teams. And then FlyQuest versus Phase versus Liquid. I'd probably say Phase, honestly. Just a little bit more gun firepower unless they're not shooting them that day. Astralis versus Paravision. I think we'll see Paravision up, but they will be struggling potentially. FlyQuest versus Fnatic. M80 versus FaZe. I'm gonna say FaZe probably going 3-0, 3-1. Paravision versus Imperial. I'm gonna say Paravision. Unless Imperial are making like the legacy run. Legacy, they might be making the legacy run, and that's why they might be doing like fairly good, all things considered. Aurora versus FlyQuest should probably be going to Aurora. And then at this point, Liquid should be beating Tyloo. Astralis should be beating Bait, I think. Fnatic versus Nip. Could be a toss up, but I'm just going to say Nip CS has been a little bit more consistent to rely on. And then, honestly, I'm kind of favoring M80 to make it in to the next stage. But this is really like banking off of like how like carrying over their momentum from stage one, which can definitely be completely offset, right? Um, but I'm just going to say that M80 probably like edge it out a bit more. And then FlyQuest over Imperial. I mean, this one could really go a toss up. We could probably just say FlyQuest again, honestly, and then Astralis versus Liquid. This one is also a toss up too. But yeah, let's go take a look at like kind of our teams per se. Top 6 teams. Let's say this. I think I will actually. I'm gonna say M80. I think I probably would say M80 would probably be my fluke team per se. Even though I would have them technically going in 3-2, I would have them as my top 6. At the moment, it's just kind of hard to discern. Bottom 4 right now, probably these 4, if anything. 1-0 capable would be the offset. We need to pick like 4 teams for the fluke. Actually, I'm gonna swap that. Liquid should be technically on paper be this other team that should be fairly like cohesive. I don't know. You know what? I think if anything, we probably want to say that like Astralis would be our 3-0 because I also see them not making the major. If I see them like failing to make the next stage per se. They've been looking fairly decent, but like Magist at the same time, kind of a bit of a step down from Stavin per se. So it's kind of hard and discernible. 1-0 capable, yeah, I would probably say this. So I think because of that, we want to say this. I'm willing to hedge my bets on Navi. Fuck it, why not? Phase. You're going to say that Phase make it, 3D Max make it, Roar make it, M80 make it, Paravision make it. And I think honestly, I hate to say it, but I'm probably gonna have to say Tyloo and Passion UA are potential for the 0-3. I low-key feel like Liquid might not make it, but they should on paper though. But the Imperial might fluke it. Imperial might fluke. I'm just gonna say FlyQuest. Screw it. This is what my gut is telling me. I'm not saying that there's any more nuance. I'm just gonna say that my pickems have lost their nuance. So there's gonna be a little bit of factuality, but we're just kind of randomly throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. This is basically how I'm gonna treat my pickems. This could definitely be wrong. Don't mind me. Could definitely be wrong, but at the very least, I'm hoping that we guaranteed one of the 0-3 picks. Praying that Tyloo does not go 0-3, but considering how China's looking this major so far, it's definitely believable. I think if we do miss on the Astralis pick, then they don't qualify. So I think hopefully it's like less of a lost cause, if that makes sense. I guess the only problem would necessarily be if any of these teams go 3-0, which is the problem. And then if Navi miss one game as well, that could also be a problem. Okay, we're gonna make a slight change at the end. I've actually just thought of something, right? This is gonna be purely conceptual, and you're free to choose how you want to do your pickems by yourself, right? What if instead of actually putting like the teams that are potentially close to going 3-0, you just ignore them, right? You ignore the teams that are fluky or have been really inconsistent but could go 3-0 or could not go 3-0, and instead you rely more on the 50-50 picks, right? Because at the very least, if you get the 50-50 picks, if you get 3 of those 50-50 picks right, and that just happens to be all 6 teams that end up going, um, you know, to the 2-2 bracket on the last day of the stage, right? And you hit all 3, you basically guaranteed yourself 3 points. So then you rely on needing to get at least one 3-0 right and then one 0-3 right. I guess this is try how you try to game the system. We're gonna see what the fuck happens. I have no clue. This might be so scuffed. God forbid. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and thank you for watching. Don't feel free to share this video because my pickups have been so bad lately. They've been so bad. So yeah, anyways, goodbye.